Team1. I would like to introduce my amazing colleagues Mariusz and Luisa, who was very much working on the presentation. We divided our presentation by 3 parts, so everybody can do the presentation. And we start with Mariusz. Mariusz, do you have the presentation ready to share, or how should we work on that?
I can share it if I can. I will try. Okay.
And then we stay with you and we just tell you.
Yeah. You see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. Just want the presentation.
Okay.
Okay. Welcome to our final presentation of Team1. Jörn, the head boss of our group, Luisa, me, and at the beginning was also Anita with us. Okay. Topic of our Team1 is liquidity. We are living in uncertain times.
I'm good.
We as controllers try to find the right way for our companies, dealing with a lot of scenarios, models, planning. But even if we are making the best model, something unexpected can happen. Question is, what can we do? How to deal with uncertainty? Topic of our group, working group, is liquidity. Because liquidity is one of the most key success factors for companies to stay safe in uncertain times. At the beginning, we ask a lot of questions. For example, how to consider risk, of course, now of pandemic, in the planning model, but also another risk. Next question was, what can be the impact on our liquidity of the risk? And at the end also, we deal with this question, how far can we influence working capital to stay safe with the cash position? And we found a nice solution. Let's go to the casino. Monte Carlo simulation. As the name say, Monte Carlo, as you know, is known for beautiful casinos, but the reference to casinos also appropriate, since Monte Carlo simulation used randomness, such as slot machine, you know. Monte Carlo simulation is a model used to predict probabilities of different outcomes, and it can help to explain the impact of risk and uncertainty in prediction and forecasting models. What we found about Monte Carlo simulation, only with Monte Carlo simulation is possible to have to perform 1,000 of sensitivity and scenario analysis only in few minutes. And also only with Monte Carlo simulation, you can simulate and aggregate the different risks. Of course, we are making this to get the probability distributions which are necessary for making business decisions. Okay, how the model is working, we will explain in the next step. We prepared in our many sessions liquidity model from the beginning. It's our own teamwork. We spent a lot of time to understand this statistical methods, statistical models, and we will share the experience with you. Please, Jan.
I request the remote control. Can you give it to me? All right. So it's a lot of stairs to go to get the model. First of all, we have to provide a liquidity model, which means we have a budget model with a P&L balance sheet and driving into a liquidity model. And this model must be calculating by itself. So everything needs to be linked to have a fully calculated budget model. And then you define the key risk inputs variables, which is mostly, to be said, revenue. First of all, of course, there are other variables which has an impact on our model. Then you define assumptions. Like, this is a very difficult part because you have to assume a range, a distribution of parameters, and also the likelihood of a risk to the model. And this is probability. This is not difficult, not easy. Like, what is the probability that a pandemic is going to happen? If you would have asked me 3 years ago, I would have said like, whoa, that's kind of zero. If you ask me now, it's maybe 100%. So it really depends on the timing and about your thinking and your worldview or your model or assumptions. And then you can run the simulation with the Monte Carlo, which is just, you know, you say, okay, there is a distribution of probabilities, and the Monte Carlo simulation is just a machine that runs different events, taking this probability into account. And then you have an outcome, you have many graphs, and you can start interpreting it and even changing your assumptions in order to get different outcomes. So we started with a budget model, profit and loss, and we have the revenue, cost of goods is variable to the revenue, and then we have sales marketing, which I think was not variable, which was kind of fixed cost. Research, development, general administration also was fixed. Others, we assume that others should be also variable to revenue. This is for the short time. For the longer term, like in 2021, where you see the 1-1-1, we said like, okay, sales and marketing could be variable because in the long term we can change a little bit our cost, even for sales and marketing, and also for revenue and development, as research and development. So that was our assumption for year 2020, more fixed, and 2021 a little bit more variable. And next is you have a balance sheet, a developed balance sheet, which is also taking revenue into account when it comes to accounts receivables and inventory, and also accounts payables, as we assume that inventory is being driven by the material expenses that we have, which is driven by the revenue. So higher revenue, we would think that we have a need for higher inventory level. Accounts payable, same. The more we sell, the more open invoices we create, the more accounts receivable we are assuming. Accounts payable, pretty much the same, which is very low in this model. But also the more material purchase we do, the more accounts payable we assume to have. Nevertheless, for the first year, we assumed that accounts receivable, inventory level, and accounts payable would be fixed, because we learned that when we turn down the revenue, as you will see next, then working capital has a huge impact on our cash position. And we didn't want to have that in the first year. And for the second year, for 2021, we assumed then that these three positions I mentioned will be variable, so will be playing when we change the revenue. And from this from this balance sheet and P&L, of course, you can run cash flow. which then takes in consideration net income, depreciation, change in inventories, change in receivables and all that. And you see it's fixed for 2020, but there are changes in 2021. So this is our model. Everything is linked together. So when you change revenue in 2020, you will change the cash at the end of year through the net income. If you change revenue in 2021, you will change net income through a level of revenue and material expenses, and all the variable costs will change, and you will have a change in receivables and inventory and so on. So it's a fully model that is based on variables. And then we have kind of KPIs that we can change. So we have this day sales outstanding, which is driving the accounts receivable, days inventory outstanding, driving the inventory level, and days payable also driven the accounts payable. And so with this 3 or 4 parameters, revenue as well, we could now drive the model and let our Monte Carlo simulation machine do the work. And here we say it again, then in Monte Carlo, you have to define a minimum and a maximum in order to calculate the standard deviation. This is what we did. We thought like, okay, day sales outstanding in 2021 should be minimum 45 days, maximum 140, which is pretty long. And the mean is 84. This is what we had from the past. Same to days payable, days inventory. We also defined maximum and minimum. And also to the revenue, we defined like, okay, when a kind of an incident is happening, the revenue might go down in this area. So, and then we added some likelihoods, so some assumption about the likelihood of the risk. We said like, okay, that a pandemic is happening is 10%. We can discuss about that, but we just took 10%. And when the pandemic is happening, the revenue might go down by 10 million, or at least in the range between 5 and 15 million. So it could be 50 million, it could be 5 million, or something in between. And likelihood that this is happening is 10%. And then we added another risk, because we didn't want to play only with one risk. We wanted to have another risk, which is a supply chain shortage, which is not related to the pandemic in this assumption. So likelihood of a supply chain shortage is 30%. As well, the impact would be 10% in the mean, 5 and 15 for minimum and maximum. And then this is our calculation. So we wanted to show the outcome is the cash at the end of 2020 and the cash at the end of 2021, because this is what really was interesting us in this model. And then we run the Monte Carlo simulation. You have a start and stop, and then you have an outcome, which you can interpret. And we were looking into this outcome for 2020 it is, and you see that with a certainty of 40%, you reach 0 cash, which is bad for a company who wants to stay in the market for long term. And 60% certainty that you are staying with positive cash. And we thought like, wow, 40% chance of being bankrupt is a little high. So we have to do something that we can provide to lower this risk. And of course, this is just a model, but it gave us something, a tool at the end to play around and to make visibility to our situation in case of a pandemic. And this is when Luisa taking over.
Well, as our topic is liquidity, so we look at the problem of liquidity management. And one of the most important factors Mariusz, can you go further? Or can I click?
Oh, now I need to give up remote control. Now you can ask Mariusz for the remote control. Under view options, you have to click on the view options and then you can request remote control.
I give you the permission, yeah?
Oops.
There you go. Okay. Just here.
Thank you, Mariusz. So I will start from, yeah, thank you. So we set up a question, how to optimize working capital management in company to stay with positive cash flow. Of course, working capital consists of many KPIs concerning accounts payable, receivable, inventory. But just to show you how easy you can use the model, we focused ourselves on customer payment terms management policy. And according to our history, the company, the KPI of days sales outstanding was 84 days with a range of minus 30 or plus 30 days. And we use that as an initial starting point. Well, imagine that you were asked by the board or by the executive, what's the probability of running out of cash if our customers, on average, will pay 20 or 30 days later because of pandemic, because of whatever happens on the market? Or he asks you how many additional days we can give to our customers to settle their receivables just to accept only 75% or 25% that we can be run out of money at the end of year. Or let's assume that we would like to be very sure and to have 3% certainty that we will not be running out of cash, that we will stay with positive cash at the end of the year. So how many days we can or we should shorten the collecting receivables on average from our customers? And Monte Carlo liquidity model gives you very quickly answer to those questions. Just in a few minutes. And if you start the simulation, then just to check it out, what is the probability that we will run out of cash if customers on average will pay 30 days later? Wow. It means that there will be 36% probability that we will be negative or zero cash position at the end of the year. And what will happen if we say the other way, that we want to be sure even more, and how many days we can accept longer from our customers? Okay, if we will allow for 10 days payments longer, then we can have 25% probability of running out. So we have 75% chance that we will be zero or more cash at the year of end. And here on the graph, you will see that above 0, when you see for median, which is 50% probability, we can be 50% sure that our cash would be 3.5 million at the end of year. And how then, what to do to be 97% sure that we will not be running out of cash? We would like to accept only 3% that will be under the line. Well, it means that we should shorten the payments by 30 days on average. And then we will be 97% sure that we will not be running out of cash at the end of year. And this also is illustrated by the probability distribution, cumulative, that probability of having 0 at the end of year is 3%. Wow. So, as a conclusion, what's the best payment terms management basing on Monte Carlo simulation? Well, you can have results in one table. You can see there, okay, this is our current position, the history that we on average collected 84 days, our receivables. And with this, if we will continue this policy next year, we will have 23% of risk that we will be under the line, the red line. But if we prolong, if we allow our customers to pay later, then we will go even deeper under the water. But if we will be clever and we know that if we make it short and on average 10 days, we will improve our risk, our certainty to 10%, 20 days, even 5%, and 30 days, 3%. So this is just now the moment that the board should decide what policy is probable to implement. And of course, customer payments, this is only one KPI. We should also take into consideration our payments to suppliers and our inventory days of having our inventory on stock. And with those three, we can run as many Monte Carlo models as we want, and then to play with the figures to find the best fit for DSO, for DPO or DIO metrics. Well, I would like to share with you some nice books we used during our preparation, during our knowledge investigation, how to create the models, how to build the models, how to work with Monte Carlo. You can find here also a good link to see in short how you can work with the Monte Carlo tool, because there are many on the market, not only Crystal Ball with Oracle, but also Risk, but also many, many more. Just you need to look and choose whatever you want. And I think this is really a great tool, supporting tool, that it could be used widely among controllers and among managing directors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Team1. Perfect timing. You are on time. That's great. A very interesting presentation, in my opinion, about difficult subject. So we are starting the Q&A session now. Any questions to Team1?
I have a question. It's Dragana. I just don't see this hand button anywhere, option to raise hand. So sorry for jumping in like this. I have a question for Luisa. I like the model, and I used to work in a big project of working capital optimization this year, and I haven't used this percent as a probability. That's great, but I haven't understand in your presentation, is there a possibility to calculate this positive cash? What does it mean? Is it €1, or can you calculate how much, how high this amount is for every, how to say, a number that goes into positive way? Like, what does it mean in cash when you say 97% of positive cash? What does positive cash mean? How much money will we have? That was my question.
Well, how much money we will have depends on the probability distribution that is shown as an outcome from the Monte Carlo simulation. And it will be easiest way if I will show you a graph. Can I share? Yes.
Yes, we see.
Vivian. Von Simon Lachmann.
Oof.
Weißt du, wer Simon Lachmann?
Yes, I get one.
Okay, so for example, here, you can look at the cumulative probability distribution that is from 0 to 100%, and Monte Carlo tells you that here is from minus to plus infinity, because it was based on normal distribution. And the probability of having 0 or less cash at the end of year is 36% here. Probability of having, I don't know, 3.5 is 3.4 is 90%. So we have here the ranges, the kind of buckets in which Monte Carlo calculated with the 1,000 trials the outcomes from the initial assumptions we set. Was it your question?
Yes, that was, I missed this down part. So this is great example. Thank you so much.
Maybe I can add to that. Monte Carlo is really doing calculations step by step. You can even click 1,000 times on a button, and then you will receive 1,000 outcomes of the model by changing the revenue and changing the days sales outstanding, inventory days, and days and accounts receivable days. So it's really, you know, putting the numbers into the model, and you will have calculated outcome. And then it's just, you know, putting this into a distribution graph.
And it's also great that if you know that you need maybe €2 million next year, you can give your customers better conditions because you don't need 4, you will survive it too. And this is great tool to help you to navigate and to make better decisions for business. Thank you.
Yes, but it's always giving you a range, right? I mean, here you see that the probability to get more than 4 million in cash is only 4%. So only the last 4, and this is I think one stable here is for 1%, or so you can really calculate, but it gives you a distribution graph of probabilities, and you cannot just calculate, okay, you know, what kind of days do I need to take to give in order to reach like 3 million. It just gives you out of 1,000 different events, taking into account your given probability. What is then your range? And you can say, okay, at least I can accept like 20% having less cash than my target, but I want to have at least 80% chance that I reach my goal. And this is how you can work it out with Monte Carlo.
Thank you. Anybody else has got any questions to Team 1? You can also put your comments to chat window. For me personally, this is once again the great story of just generally the great idea of controlling somehow using numbers for discussions. So for making decisions, you see the numbers and then you can moderate the discussion of management board. Is it really possible that our customers will pay us average 30 days faster than before? Or can we really negotiate our payments dates? That's the story. However, the only risk I see for our job, let's say, is just when we are too difficult and go too deep into statistics. And in my opinion, you guys did it really simple way to explain it all. Okie doke. Anybody else want to say something?
Okay, let me add something. I really think probabilities it's really on the reach. So everybody in psychological issues, we are using everything is about statistics now. All right, there's you know, assumptions, data mining, everything is about statistics, probabilities, and so forth. And I really believe that in financials, we will get into statistics much more than we controllers are used to. And so I really think it's worth to get knowledge about statistics, probabilities, and so forth. And I was even thinking about how to introduce such a model, and I could really think about having it more like a game, like not asking the salespeople, okay, how much you will sell next year, but asking them, okay, give me a medium, and then give me a range around it, and give me a probability that you reach different customers, and then we have a model, and we can play it through, and then we can just add you different probabilities, and I can tell you what's the impact on the outcome. And I can go to the H&R department and say, okay, and like when you are able to reach different milestones and we are ready to be able to sell different products, what is the probability that we can reach this milestone? What is the probability that the sales guy can sell this product, this product? And you can have correlations between these two approaches, and then you can play around. You can give results within minutes or seconds, and I think it's then you can get the people to think about probability and to think about ranges, and I think that would be a nice approach. So budgeting gets more into a game, into a game with probabilities.
Okay, I see the first, Herwig, I see your hand, but first was Martin.
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So I think everything is working. And with regard what Jorn said, that nowadays everything is going to be about data mining, everything is going to be connected actually with statistics. So I would say that everything will be connected with appropriate ways to reflect how our world around us looks like. And in case any one of you would like to start your adventure with statistics or wonder how to approach the topic, I would be very happy to help by providing you with any kind of, let's say, courses, expertise, literature, or explaining any kind of concepts. So in case you have any question, please reach out to me, and I'll be very eager to help. Thanks.
Thank you. Herwig?
Thanks, Team1. I understood a bit more the Monte Carlo simulation. My problem is a problem of discussion. I don't believe that you can show all these figures to a CEO, CFO, and all of the people in the top management. They don't understand it, I think. You could give in some information. If we do this and this or this, not more, three possibilities. And I think much more important is to say what they have to do. Everything here is based on the customer. So you have to talk with the customer. And so you have to know what will happen if you don't persuade the customer to pay in 30, 60, 90 days or something like this. That is an important point, and for this model here, and it shows your salespeople, it shows the CEO and the CFO to which people, to which customers they have to talk, and what should be the aim of the talks with them.
Yeah, absolutely right, Herwig. I mean, we're showing that a company who has long day sales outstanding is vulnerable to any catastrophe. I mean, this knowledge is not really new. It is just a different way to show it. It's just a way, like, I mean, I agree with you. The CEOs are not very knowledgeable about statistics in many companies. In many companies, it's already the other way around. But telling a CEO, see, I mean, the probability that we will run out of cash is 40% in case a pandemic is happening. I think that's a number everybody understands. And then you come with a solution and say, yeah, but if we reduce our DSO, we will only have 5% probability. If we reach 30 days of DSO, which is a challenging goal, but I mean, this is just a different talk. It's not like, okay, you know, yeah, in a moment we have 2 million, so there's no risk. I mean, if our revenue goes down by 10%, we are out of cash. But you can now argue differently. You can say, like, the risk in this assumptions, of course, we are out of cash, 40% likelihood. You can say, oh, I take it. I take the risk. Why? I mean, we are risky people. You can say, like, okay, I'm only willing to take a 10% risk. People are say, well, I'm only taking 5% risk, and then you can show, okay, in order to reach that risk personality, you have to reduce your day sales outstanding. Or I mean, there might be other assumptions you can take. Reduce your inventory level, for example. We didn't play around with that. A short-term, long-term, you can discuss around, but you can show something based on probability, which is just a different approach.
Yeah.
Approach for controllers, of course. We deal with statistics, we learn also a lot. I think this is maybe the new way how we can also deal with some models, with some plans. So we can make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Roger, you were the second. Roger, we can't hear you. Unmute, please.
Can you hear me? I think it's right. It needs some additional information or explanations, especially from the controllers. And if you look, for example, what was mentioned also a little bit on this example on DSO, so it's very common for in Germany that you use cash discounts on your receivables. So if you have a traditional payment term of 60 or 80 days or 30 days, normally the companies offer at the same time that if you pay within 5 or 6 or 8 days, you get a cash discount of 2 or 3%. So that means you have on the one hand, you have a result impact because this is lost money, but at the same time, you are able to get your money much shorter, even much more shorter than 10 days. So this is just an example which creates then these kind of discussions and solutions, and then you have to balance what is your priority? Is it more the result you want to improve or the liquidity? And in this case, I think this tool is great.
I even think like we can now put a third thing into it, not only like the liquidity or the result, but here we come with the risk. It's the third thing. So you can reduce your risk. This is something new, I think, and you, of course, you have to think about, play around how to, I mean, sell it, how to use it, and how to make something out of it. But I think this is really where we are driving to.
Okay, thank you. Now Anna, then Herwig. Anna.
Yeah, for me, it's such a model should also indicate where to look at. And as Herwig said, maybe the message would be closer to the customer, maybe do some strategy towards customer, identify a key customer, maybe make another policy to them and separate to some others in that respect. Or maybe actually it would be more important to look into suppliers and change the conditions with them as a main topic or main contributor to the improvement of liquidity. And for the controllers, any tools that can bring some probabilities assumptions, for me it's only a tool to support our opinion based on the data we have from finance, but also from the market. So set information, not only what we read from the figures. And from my experience coming with information about, okay, we increased so many days and we will bring so much money to executive management, then say, okay, do it, but be sure that it's done. So for sure, it's only some kind of our view or support to us as a controllers, which way to go maybe and which way to investigate with the departments, what is possible to improve. Thank you.
Thank you, Anya. You are right. This is a supporting tool, and it will not give you a concrete direction which you want, which we should go, but it gives you a kind of ranges. Yes, like if you are on a boat and you are sailing, and then you ask, and Captain is asking, okay, how we can reach that goal to be above zero. Yes. So the people that are looking to the numbers, they are guiding you, navigating, okay, you should turn 5 degrees right or 3 degrees left, yes? And then the captain is the person who decides which direction to go and which risk he would like to accept. But with Monte Carlo, you can easily, just in a few minutes, have a result. You can change the average days of paying to your suppliers, average days that customers pays you, and you can really check the direction that could be easily and very probably to be realized.
I want to add something. Yeah, no, you are right. We could have played with the, for example, likelihood that there's a shortage of supply chain easily in like looking into this way, like, okay, setting up 2 or 3 different suppliers for the same tool. And I want to, so they're different. We took the easiest, right? So we just wanted to show you how Monte Carlo works. We didn't want to have like fancy things. We could have introduced more and more risk and more things, but nobody would then say, yeah, but how is calculating? And so we didn't want to lose track. It was new for us as well. We just wanted to show the very basic, very simple thing. But for example, you could even look into chances. I mean, we are always looking into risk, but you could also change the whole game and look into chances. What is the chance that I can take to get more revenue? So there are much more levels you can use this tool for. But always it is just a different approach. It's talking about probabilities. It's not talking about we reach something. It's talking about we have a probability to reach something or to miss our goal. And that's I think I cannot just stress it out. It's just a new way of communicating. That's what I think.
Yes, okay. But of course, we don't have to show the Monte Carlo model, the liquidity model to the management board, but just use it for calculations and then to present the results in a form of a table or just even during our meeting with the board. Yes, he can ask you, okay, what will happen if we will shorten 5 days or longer, 5 days, and you can run a simulation and you can give the answer in 3 minutes.
Okay, Herwig, last question, please.
Not question. Monte Carlo, it seems to me a very interesting tool. We should talk afterwards about time you need to prepare such a tool. That's another point. But this pandemic situation worldwide shows to me that many companies don't realize before what could be dangerous in our life. And if a company has a DSO of 84 days, it's really mad. How could you work with this? And I have also many consultant colleagues who says, oh, we don't have money anymore. Yeah, what have you done the last years? In a company, you have to save money for situations like this. Okay, I agree with Jörn. It's not possible to say a pandemic will come next year or once in 100 years. But there are many other things that you have some money in the back to reduce the possibilities to go bankrupt. That's an important point, and we could use this Monte Carlo simulation to show that we could be better from 84 to 30 days normally. That's important, huh? Not only for the pandemic situation. Thanks.
Yeah, I think I agree. And we talked about how at the very beginning, like, okay, liquidity in the pandemic. And I had the same point of view as you. I said, like, okay, if you don't have a model yet, if you don't have anything that you can try to look into the future, I mean, it's just too late. Forget it. We are in the middle of the pandemic, so you have to have such a model beforehand. We cannot use this, or we cannot build it up while we are in the pandemic. I think that's much too late. You cannot change your daily sales outstanding while you're in a pandemic. That would not be possible, or your inventory level or something. While you have to do that beforehand. You have to try to drive your future and find ways to improve it. Absolutely.
You have to do it actually all the time. This is never-ending story.
Okay, thank you very much. I see also questions and the discussion on the chat window. So Team1, please have a look into chat window and answer if you can during the meeting. Thank you very much. Maybe just last ask to the leader and the team. Last minute for you. What have you learned during last months?
For me, it was a great journey to learn to deal with statistics, because all these models based on statistics are this is our future of controlling log. I think we can go deeper in this way, but it's very interesting. It can support our controller work.